It is middle of April, Sunday.
I mean, it's end of April, but we got 1 week.
Is
Or
it already
6
end of
days.
April?
Yeah, because it's the 24th.
That's right.
And there's only 30 days.
So we're in the last week of April.
We're a quarter of the year done.
Jesus.
Or a third of the year done. Fuck, not even a quarter.
Yeah. We made it. It's going by so fast.
Yeah, man. I still feel like it's January.
I was going to say, I remember when we were celebrating Chinese New Year, and then not too long from that, we were celebrating New Year's. Yeah.
Yeah, this year's gonna. I mean, I feel like we say this all the time. The years keep going by faster.
It does. Doesn't even seem like it either.
Yeah.
Even when you look back, you're like, man, it adds up. At least for me, it adds up where I'm like, okay, like it does make sense we're in April because of all this that's gone down, but still, man,
like sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like much has happened. Then other times I'm like, nah, there's just been way too much shit that's happened this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at least for you, in like the last few months, like I feel like a lot of change with like relationships.
Yeah, man. So I remember not too long ago when we went on our first trip to Reno. Let me get comfortable. Look at this. I got a leg rest. I got this like little leg extension thing I had no idea about.
Damn.
Fucking all bougie up right now. I'm getting comfortable. I think it was our first trip to Reno, and I think it was on our way up and back. We had like a common theme of like topic as we were driving, and that was just like where we all stood in relationships because we were all somewhat in a different spot.
Yeah.
Especially compared to our homie Kendall, who was like pretty much married.
Pretty much married.
Pretty much married.
He sold his soul. Yeah, but yeah, at that time we were not where he is or what.
Yeah. At that time, you and I were in a very similar position in terms of relationship. And I mean, that was my premise all the way up until I got into my current relationship with my girl.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if people ever go into like things like I need a relationship now.
I mean, you kind of like tell yourself I'm ready though, right? Like when I moved to Arizona the first time, I told myself that. Well, after a while, because I had just gone out of a breakup when I moved.
Yeah.
Right? But like I gave myself some time, and once I felt ready, I was like, you know, I'm ready to like put myself out there again. No, I wasn't like seeking it out and like chasing girls.
Mentally, like,
but like at the same time, I wasn't closing myself off to anybody.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, if like something happens, I'm not like shutting it down. I'll like be more open to the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean, I think when we left that Arizona or that conversation in Reno, I think we had the same premise where it was like you and I didn't want to get into relationships with other people, like with girls, with anybody, because of what we had focused on right now.
Yeah.
And like what we were working on individually amongst ourselves. And I didn't want to give that luxury up. And
yeah.
I think we also, I mean, for sure, I remember we had that like caveat because it came from a place from what I remember and my understanding, it came from a place where it was like, I don't want to get into a relationship with a girl because I don't want them to feel like I'm not going to give them my full attention because they're not going to get my full attention.
Yeah, because you're focusing on so many other projects or like just bettering yourself in different ways that it's like you don't want to stop doing that for like whatever.
Yeah, it's sacrificing. I mean, that's what you're doing is you're sacrificing time. You're divvying it up to a different aspect of your lifestyle. And I mean, for me, I was all in on me for a hot minute. I got selfish with my time. And honestly, like when I got into the relationship I'm in now, I really didn't see it coming. I still carried that mindset. I was like, I don't need this. It wasn't like a single guy's mindset or like that, like, oh, like I don't need no like, man, so I don't need no women's in my life. Like that wasn't it. I just wasn't like actively seeking anything out. I was just like going through the motions of life, you know, like working, like trying to get a good routine and good.
It was just like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing.
Exactly. And it starts to find you, and it did find me, and I do not regret it one bit.
That's good though.
It's really good because it was exactly like it was. I wasn't looking for it, but it was exactly what it was needed if I wanted it, and it took it, right? Because it was what I asked for. I got in that scenario, I mean, I'm dating someone who's who's just as independent as I am, but at the same time, when we come together, it's like fireworks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she does her thing and she's fucking killing it in her own individual independent achievements. And I'm doing the same thing where I'm getting my own, I'm getting my own bread.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking trying to find my own little like thing.
And you're still doing like your rock climbing. She does her like other activities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like.
And it's all support. It's all support. There's like no like, you spend too much time doing this, or like, why are you so like fixated on that?
Yeah, I think we were talking about this like earlier, like because she has this passion for like the activity she does, she can kind of relate to people having passions for what they do.
Yeah.
It's not like in some relationships, one person has a lot of passion for something and the other person just can't say it because they don't have that similar passion. Like it's not relatable to them.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to be like, why are you spending so much time doing X, Y, and Z? But if they were passionate about something, they could be like, oh, I understand now.
That's always such an attractive thing, man. Like I don't think I've never not heard someone be like, someone who's like into something with like
A
great
lot of passion.
fury and passion. I haven't seen someone once go like, that's unattractive.
I've never even considered that was like a trait that people found attractive until like I have this family friend who we've known for so long, but she like one day she was just like, oh, did you ever know I had like a crush on you in like middle school or something? And I was like, why? I like didn't look good. I wasn't smart. Like, what was there to like have a crush on? She was like, yeah, but you were like so passionate about like your martial arts thing that like I've never seen anyone like in our age group or something like with that passion at that time. And I was like, I didn't even know people look for passion as like a trait.
It's subtle. It's very subtle because like, I don't know, when you love something like that, when you're very passionate about things, you don't talk about it like that. You're not like, oh, I love soccer all the time. Let me tell you how much I love soccer.
Yeah.
No, you're just like, people ask you what you've been up to. Oh, I've just been training.
It's like you eat, soccer, sleep, and breathe that one thing.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you don't brag about what you're passionate about, but it's obvious that it's a passion of yours.
I think it's good and bad. Like being too obsessed can also be detrimental.
Oh, you can get so consumed. Like when you look at like Michael Jordan and
or like Kobe.
I mean,
it's good like because you get really good at your craft, but also like there's more to life, kind of.
Well, and we talked about this earlier too, off cam, but people look for that. I mean, a lot of pro athletes when they retire fall into like a depressive spell because that's all they've known their life was like their sport, and now that they're retired from it, like what else do I have?
Like they feel like they have no value to add.
They have to find a new niche and a new passion for something else. They have to find a new project outside of what they've known their whole life.
And it might not come as easy as like the sport they played. So they're kind of starting rock bottom in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Michael Jordan's like, he's the GOAT, right? But at the same time, when he left the sport of basketball, like he was trying to find baseball.
Yeah,
and
he wasn't the best.
He came back to basketball, and then he was like a huge gambler in terms of like he would go golfing and loved golf and would put wagers on golf. He was just he was very passionate about being competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think like for the most part, being passionate is good, solid. Like, I'm sure there's always some naiveness to like you're passionate. Like you might just be like, oh, I could be the best or whatever. And sometimes it's just not realistic. But I'd rather set the goal high and aim for it and like fail.
It's like aiming for like it's almost like looking through a telescope, right? Like the sight on your end of things is like the small lens you're looking through.
Yeah.
And to magnify it, you need a bigger lens on the other end. Same thing. Like you're looking through a peephole, and on the other end is this big magnifying glass that magnifies what you're looking at.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I think a lot of passion like drives from like you liking whatever you're doing, but also like you just see the potential you have in it.
Yeah.
So you just fall in love with like working on getting better.
No, I was just gonna say it's never like I want to be first. It's more. It's usually the people who are super passionate. It's just like I just want to keep on getting better.
Yeah.
Keep on getting better. That's it. Just want to keep on working on my craft.
Yeah. For most people, it's not like a super end goal or whatever. But it's just like I think I could become like a better shooter or like a better goalie or like a better painter or like I could just get more efficient coding or something, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I mean, as far as to going back to like the relationship stuff, I still think I don't have a bunch of time, but I don't think now that's like the reason. That's kind of like I'm still not like at a place where I'm personally financially happy. like I still would want to be in a better spot, or like I would still want to be doing like other things.
I told myself that too, man.
But like it's not like the thing that's like tying me down from a relationship.
Yeah.
Like I went on some dates last year and maybe the year before, and like for me, I enjoy having conversations with like new people and like getting to know them. That part's fine, but I just don't feel like a connection.
I get that.
And to me, it's just like, okay, so now it's not like the time because I made the time for the dates or whatever, and like I understand that I'm gonna continue getting like to the place I want to be professionally or whatever. But it's like I just don't feel anything on these dates.
I get that. I threw feelers out there like that, and I just happened to catch one that was like, "Oh, I do feel something." Like,
I mean, I've only felt something once, and that shit just it didn't go anywhere because I didn't do anything about it. Because in the moment, I didn't realize what it was, but then after that moment was over, I was like, "Oh, I should have been like made a move on this."
Right.
And then it was too late because those things don't just happen every fucking day, right?
No.
So
yeah, that's what I did. Because I was in the same. Again, we had a similar outlook going into this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want to be at a certain level before I jump into this endeavor, and it kind of just found me not in a spot where I wanted to be, but it wasn't like a spot. It was a spot that I was comfortable in. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be somewhere higher than I was, but like where I was at, I was like, I'm not gonna give I'm not gonna not give this a chance.
Yeah, that's where I'm at now. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's taking those chances and saying I'm gonna build around that now instead of like the other way around. Like I'm gonna build myself first and then I'll fall into it. I just kind of like fell and it caught me, and I was just like, we'll make it work. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, now I'm like definitely open to like a relationship, but it's just like I'm not gonna just dive into something if I don't feel anything. But I've also heard from people like our other friends where they're like, "Oh, I never felt anything with my current like significant other for a little bit." I don't know.
Grew into it.
Yeah, like I don't know how that works. Like, are you supposed to feel something? Are you supposed to like grow into it? But
I guess there's always that like potential, right?
But then how do you know if there is potential or you're just wasting time? Because I don't like wasting other people's time either.
Yeah.
Like where I know like I don't feel anything, but I'm like, should I just keep going on dates? But then if I keep going on dates, they're definitely gonna think like I'm like super interested, or like they're gonna think it's gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping to feel something to like make the move. I feel like it's wasting their time.
That was I mean, the way I went about it and the way it went about through my through me and Solin was, we just kind of went into it with like an open idea of things, like let's just make a connection. That's all it was like.
Like no labels, no nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
No expectation.
Like I just want to get to know you and like see if you're a cool enough person worth hanging around. And she was, and then we kept hanging out, and then it started building on top of itself, and it became a lot more comfortable, and like real feelings were coming out afterwards. But when it first started off, it wasn't like, oh, this is the person. It was like, there's a potential here, but let's just get the basis down. Let's get some ground rule. Like let's get a base foundation down, and then we can go from there before we start like building on top of it.
I feel like people who like start like with more of a friendship kind of thing for the first few months or like whatever, it probably works out better just because you already know them on a different level.
Yeah, it just becomes a lot more comfortable, a lot healthier, and like if you're friends with the person first, you already built that wall of trust that I can already trust this person as a friend.
Yeah.
So they've done me enough justice as a friend. I think I could take it one, like if the setting is right, if the direction is there, then you decide to move forward from there. Oh, let's take it up a notch. Let's pick it up one more notch. Okay, now it's turning into something more than just a friendship. But it has that foundation of a friendship underneath. Yeah. So at the end of the day, and this is what I always tell her, like at the end of the day, I just want you to be happy. Just because, like that's what I want for you as a friend. Bottom line, Now, again, that goes over like even out, like if it didn't work out for whatever reason, like her and I like broke up or whatever the case may be, I'd still want her to have like the happiest, best life.
Yeah.
And that's what it meant for us in terms of like finding that friendship and like building on top of that first, instead of like going, because I've seen it done the other way around where it's you hook up or you find attraction first, and then you try to build identity around that.
You're working backwards in a sense.
A little bit, because the foundation is just on like literal first impressions and initial attractions, and then it's almost like
more on like physical stuff than like
right. And then now the guessing game of personality and like compatibility is there instead of the other way around, where it's like, no, we've built the compatibility and the foundation of our friendship. Now, do we want to just keep it at that surface level, or like, do you see more in me, like I see in you? Do we want to pursue that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. Like I guess I haven't been in situations where I've been like meeting a lot of new people lately either. So that would be like more on me to put myself out there, I guess. But yeah, I feel like definitely I should probably just go like the friendship kind of route instead of like trying to date people.
Yeah.
Just start like being on Tinder and swiping and shit.
I just think it's the most wholesome route, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Tinder, I used to do Tinder a while ago. I left that shit back in Arizona, but like when I did do it, it was just it felt weird.
It's like transactional.
Yeah, no, most definitely. You would like meet up with people, and it was just like it kind of felt like the app set it up that way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, yeah, I swiped right, but it was like we met because of Tinder. Like, it just felt felt superficial.
I think I think it also helps. Like, I mean, in the past couple of years, this has been hard, but like before, like people, if like someone has like a party or like a get together, and you just meet a friend of a friend, is probably like better, just because there's already like a trust level somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say I always preferred that like in-person interaction, because like you can get a lot more information that way.
Yeah.
Then even more so than someone literally telling themselves about you through an app.
Well, yeah, because people can put on a persona, or
they could tell whatever they want about you. Like about themselves.
Some people are like text totally different than how they are in person.
Oh heck yeah!
But yeah,
it's Twitter or Tinder. I had a friend who was like on that hype. He was my roommate. He would have like every dating app known to man while we were at ASU, and he's just every day he would just be like, "Yeah, I'm about to meet up with another match." And I'm like, "God damn, bro! like good for you, but like." Is there any love in there? You know what I mean? Like, are you just doing this for lust?
Yeah, and I feel like even if you don't realize it, it takes a toll on you. Because if it doesn't like obviously everyone has different intentions when they use like dating apps. So some people are just doing it to hook up. So like if you're hooking up every time or whatever, I guess it's fine. But if you're actually on there to find a relationship and it's not going anywhere multiple times, it like I don't know if it makes you like depressed, but it kind of gets you down. Like this shit's not working.
Or even if you build your profile and you start swiping and you get 0 matches, that lowers the self-esteem significantly. Like, do I not look attractive, or like is my bio not worth it, or like am I not interesting enough? Like, it's a double-edged sword.
And then you start faking who you really are, and then like if you match someone, once you're like faking something, you're like, now you can't be who you are anymore. Like,
right?
It just gets too messy.
Yeah, like for me, my profile had no bio.
Oh shit!
So like people would just match based on what I looked like. That was it, and I was just too lazy to make a bio at the time. But at the same time, that said a lot about the other person.
If they're just swiping,
like, oh, it's literally just based on physical attraction, or like, oh, his life looks like an interesting life to live. I want to get to know this person on that level. And I don't know.
I think my bio's always just been like I'm bored. Or like something stupid.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like super funny, so I can't come up with like pickup lines or anything. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I never was a fan of it, but I mean, I've seen it work for people, and like I said, like some people use it.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
Too. But it's weird though, because some people they're on the apps and I'm like, hey, you're either on the app to date and like be in a relationship or just hook up. But people don't even want to talk really,
because they just do it for the self-esteem. The moment they get like a match, and you literally get like endorphins flowing through your brain, dopamine's hitting you. You get on like that like little hit of ecstasy where you're just like, oh man, someone actually is attracted to me. That's pretty cool. But you don't do anything with it because you don't care. You just wanted that like assurance, like, oh, I am attractive. Look at this person matched with me. Or you also start to find like which people are attracted to you. Like for me, I always found like it happened in like scenarios, or not me, but like I'd find people like, oh, a lot of Asian chicks liked my buddy because he was like a half Hawaiian, half Filipino, like mixed dude, and he looked cool. He looked good.
Yeah.
And I guess the people that were most attracted to him were like Asians. That was just like the niche of the demographic that liked him.
Yeah.
I had another dude who had more like white girls like him, more like like the Valley, like North or like West Coast people.
Yeah.
All over this fool. He was from Portland. You know what I mean? Like he had that Portland hippie-ish kind of vibe, but he was very prepsterous.
Yeah.
And so he had like his group of girls that would flock to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have like the guys who would like the sporty athletic chicks.
Yeah.
Like
who lift and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And everything in between. Some people like their goths, other people like their. And you'd find like the niches, and like people would separate into those groups.
Like I know growing up, like both of us used to ask a bunch of questions, and I kind of still do that when I meet people because I just want to genuinely like know about them, or like
right.
I have this thing in my head where it's like, what made you who you are today? Like obviously there's like some deep shit in people's lives. So you don't have to like, I'm not expecting everyone to be open like from the get, but it's more of like surface level, or like a little bit deeper than surface level.
I was gonna say that's like, yeah, you're getting beyond the surface level. Like, what's going on? How's your day? What are you up to? What do you do for a living?
But I guess like maybe people just don't like being asked questions about them or something, because people would like respond to a few of them, and then like after a while they'll just like stop them. Like, okay, either my questions are hella boring, or like they expected us to go on a date by now or something.
I feel like your questions are more suited for like in person.
Yeah,
because like again that was my winning ticket. I was just genuinely me, and I like asking. You just pointed out I loved asking questions. I didn't care what you like. For the most part, I don't care what you look like. Obviously, like physical attraction is a need.
Component. Yeah,
it's a component because like it's going to be the person you're looking at for majority of your time.
Yeah,
but at the same time, if there's no personality behind it, those looks will fade. That cute funness or whatever the reason why you're dating who you're dating is going to be the linchpin and backbone of why it stays so solid. And I used to be so like into my looks in terms of like trying to see like what was the best winning formula for me. Like I color my hair, like I'd wear shit I usually don't wear. I stood out, but in my own style.
Yeah.
But it was a little more than I would usually stand out from. So
you're just testing out,
just doing what I could do, exactly. Just like what is the winning formula, and like I found one, but it wasn't who I was, So I lost the identity of me in this pursuit of trying to find what's a winner.
Yeah.
In terms of like what's the winning ticket for like again, and I speak on my Arizona experiences because that's when I went through my like most rapid changes.
Well, I mean that's when you were pretty much single.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because before that you were in a different relationship, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even in Arizona, I found myself in like finding it, like looking for a relationship, and again, I picked a personality that does not match mine today, and looking back on it, who's to say that it wasn't authentic or not? But at the same time, what it attracted was not what I was looking for.
Yeah,
I
think like I was talking to one of my roommates about this when I was in college. We were like, it's probably easier to find people when you're in college than like after.
For 100%.
For like most people, just because like again we like at Arizona, you have like 40,000 people. I'm sure like
they're all the same age as you, or like around your age group.
Like maybe 50% or a little under that is probably like the other gender, right?
Yeah,
like whatever gender you are, it's the other gender. And like same thing at my college.
The odds are in your favor.
Yeah, and like for the most part, like let's say you're doing a specific major, or like you're doing a specific major, but you still have interest in something else, you'd be able to find people who are like into some stuff. So,
well, you got to remember too, I work at a bar, and I've worked at a bar for like 4 years now.
Yeah,
and people go to the bars for multiple reasons, but one of the biggest ones is trying to find someone, or like trying to find, an attraction to a partner. Whatever case may be. Whether that's like going to a bar or a lounge and like flirting with people, or buying them drinks or whatever you can to win someone's favor.
Get them to like talk.
And it happens more often than you think. And a lot of the people who always, I feel like, complain the most are the ones who feel like they're running out of time because they still want to have a kid and they still want to have like a family and live that lifestyle, but they're getting into their 30s, like you said.
Yeah.
And once people start hitting like later into the ages, they start meeting less people going out, and it becomes almost like like race against the clock.
Yeah, and like
literally it is, because like your little biological clock is reaching its end.
Like, and I have this like thing where I would never date anyone from like work because I feel like it's just too messy.
Oh, I've seen that.
It's just I've never seen it go like. There's been instances where it's been like okay, but I feel like you're running a really high risk on that.
Oh heck yeah!
So I'm not like, oh, if I get a new job, let me go meet coworkers. It's kind of weird. Like
it's difficult though too because like those are the people you're around the most.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like once you graduate college, you're around your coworkers, but most people don't want to date their coworkers. So now your pool is like it's really limited, small. Yeah. And it's probably even harder to find people within like your same age range. Like you don't want someone. I mean, personally, I don't want someone who's way younger or way older, just because like we're not gonna relate on like the childhood we had.
Right.
So like, I mean, some people are into that, but it's not my thing.
Yeah. I mean, me too. For the most part, I try to find like-minded people. That's the attraction I have. People who have similar mindsets as me.
Yeah.
Or I have similar mindsets to them. It's or complementary in a sense too.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have to be like, we don't have to like everything, but same like we were talking about earlier. Like, oh, you're passionate about this. I support you in your passions because it's very attractive to see you so fucking wanting to go after it. It makes me want to go after what I'm going after, and it reignites my passions for what I'm, currently trying to pursue.
It's like
at the same time, like once we come together, like those passions switch on to each other. Like, oh, I'm very passionate for you.
Yeah.
Because of all these other things that you provide for me. While at the same time, like, oh gosh. Oh. But yeah, so it becomes a thing of attraction. Man, I kind of lost my train of thought.
You're talking about like the passions and how like.
Oh yes. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I was always a driven, passionate person. I still am to this day. But then at the same time, it becomes a less like I'm able to redirect it now more so. So like, I'm very passionate. I'm very focused on my work. And then when I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, I'm able to switch that off and go, okay, now I'm going to change that direction of passion towards you.
Yeah.
Because I feel just as passionate about that, and it's attractive. Passion is attractive.
And I feel,
it means you care.
Yeah. And I feel like for me right now, it's also like hard to find people at the same stage of life. Because like, again, going back to like the college thing, most people are at the same stage where it's like, you're doing like a certain major, you're looking for internships, like you're pretty much in the same boat.
Right.
Like obviously everyone comes from different family backgrounds, different financial backgrounds, whatever. And like the environment they grew up is probably different. But like for the most part, like most of the things line up. But like now, like we have friends who are either like in school or some people who are like super working or like people who are trying to figure out what they want to do. It's like people our age right now are not in the same like time or like I don't know. I don't even know how to categorize it, but
I mean, to break it into easier like examples, like personally, I'm not interested in someone who's going to college right now because like I did that whole thing, and who knows, I might go back and finish it, but at the same time, like, man, I'm already into my like professional career and trying to look for professionalism in the workforce. Like
you don't want to go back to that
particularly, and I'm not saying it's like a no go, but at the same time, like, I'm less inclined to want to stick around you because school is going to be your what's running your life for the most part. That's your lifeblood.
Yeah.
And then on top of that too, like, it becomes regional too. So people in our area, especially our age, are going to be living in all different kinds of places. Like whether that's like living on campus, because they're still going to school. They're living in an apartment with like 3 different roommates, or they have, they're living with their parents.
Yeah.
This area is so fucking expensive. Like people have to make do with what they got.
Yeah.
And with this, it becomes that such of a instance. That becomes that such of an instance where it's like it adds another variable into the game of like, what are we gonna do? How is this gonna be run? Like, will this work? You live with your parents, I live with my parents, or you live in a single apartment and I still live with my parents, or I live by myself and you're living on campus. You know what I mean? Like the variety and the variability of factors makes so much of a difference.
And I think like like the stage of life you're in or like whatever you're doing also dictates your outlook. Like someone who's in college might have like a way different outlook than someone who's already been in the workforce for a few years, right?
Yeah.
Because like people in college for the most part are like more naive. Like they don't understand.
I mean, they're just younger, right? Like,
and you
they're
don't
so
understand the
young.
nuances of like everything that goes into like the professional world or like any of the biases or like certain things or how you have to navigate and stuff.
Right.
So your outlook's definitely way different than someone who's been working for a few years and kind of sees how things are like run and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely, man. And then again, that ties back into what I was just talking about, like in terms of like finding, and what you also brushed up on was like finding what's what's your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like where do you fall in line with that? Some people are into like the college kids because they have the most passion.
Yeah, or like
or they have the most drive in what they're doing, or they have the most hopefulness, or they're so youthful,
more positive, or like
they have a lot of optimism towards the future. And some people want something more concrete and real, or like, oh, this person has a job and this person has a career, and like I could see something with this person, or like for whatever reason, people find their people for whatever, however. I see couples that you look at and you're like, I don't see it, but they do.
It works out for them.
They do, so I can't question it, And I've seen other relationships that like everyone's like nobody sees it.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those toxic ones. Like I had maybe I shouldn't talk on this topic, but like you talked about like coworkers working or like getting into a relationship. Those are so dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you can have it in many different ways. It can be like a manager or like a senior position, and a lower position, and that can get messy. Or it could be on the same level, and that gets messy with, oh, we're working on the same day, or we're working together, and now things are
like, now you're not focusing on work. Or
or now there's drama that you have to bring that was not necessitated.
Yeah.
It gets all convoluted because of that.
Yeah, I think it's that whole thing is so tough.
But I was gonna say, no, I'm not saying it can't work. It's just it usually doesn't. Yeah,
even with like the toxic relationship, it's kind of like it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, everyone kind of realizes this is bad, and you could tell the person that it's bad, but they kind of have to
they have to figure it out for themselves.
They got to stick up for themselves and realize what they're willing to tolerate or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Do you think like your past relationships have helped you like navigate through your current one?
Yes, most definitely. But I have to be and that's why I have to be very appreciative for those ones, as much as like not a lot of good had come out of them.
Yeah.
But they teach you stuff. There was a lot of good. There was but there was a lot of bad as well.
Yeah.
And to me, the bad outweighed the good, and that's why it didn't last. But I took those bad instances and I turned them into lessons, and like it helped me to formulate more of a profile for what I was looking for. Like, oh, I'm not compatible with these types for the most part. It doesn't mean I'm not going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I know based on like my history that this won't work, or this has been very difficult for me to work with. And so I take those into account. I make this like little like checkbox in my head. I'm like, okay, that's going to be an issue of conversation, because I know, I've dealt with this
in the past.
I've dealt with something similar,
Do you have do you ever have like a checkbox of like, oh, this didn't work last time, or like I should work on doing things better in this way, or like do you just play it by like the current person you're dating and like what their personality is like?
Yeah, I have to gauge it based on like the initial assessment of how I think things will go through. And then, I mean, I don't get into a relationship until I know it's like worth taking that risk.
Yeah.
At this point, so until I can like even get that down, those questions always pop in your head to create that like almost like a potential. You're like, oh, this has the potential to be a lifetime, or this has the potential to be at least a couple years, and we'll extend the contract later, kind of thing. But like that's how it goes sometimes, where you go, I don't see this becoming like, you kind of like see where the limitations may be. You know what I mean? Like when I was single, I would do that in my head. I'm like, okay, I could play the like, if her and I were dating, then where would we run into conflict? Where would things, get boring? Like, where would I find issue based on that person that I am?
Yeah.
And would it work? It can, but it also probably won't be the best. Okay, I should probably just let it be for now. You kind of like I said, you start profiling things in a sense. You start making like this, like, kind of, like I said, a checkbox in your head where you're like, nah, yes, no, maybe, or like, we'll keep seeing it and see what happens from there, kind of thing.
I think something that I never really gave much credit to is I think relationships at least help people grow just as like humans, because you're more like you're showing compassion towards one person, so you're more likely to show compassion to like people in general because you're considering someone else's feelings or like how your actions or the way you say some things affects that person, so you're probably like more conscious of it with like people in general.
Yeah, and on the opposite side of that too, or on the is like the baggage you carry because of those things at the same time, right? Like,
yeah.
For me, I had to like rewrite a lot of things because I had so much baggage of like past relationships, past failures.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a different person. They didn't do those things to me, so I can't bring that baggage into that relationship.
You got to start them on a new slate.
Yeah. And then again, that's why this one has worked so well is the patience and the understanding, right? And it's to like a lot of honesty and openness into the relationship. I'm gonna be honest with her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell it to you straight. This is what screwed me up in the last, like in a previous relationship, or this is what had me fucked up because of whatever my family history background, whatever the case may be. I don't want that to ruin this relationship, so I'm putting it out on the surface now. Let's work on it, or like if you notice that, then it becomes a communication thing. Like, it comes down to communication, honesty, loyalty, trust.
Yeah, I feel like
and then genuine love.
You can't really go wrong in over communicating. It might just get annoying, but like I feel like there's not much flaws to over communicating.
Not at all. I think again, I would say this is a relationship I've had the most success in terms of like I haven't, and that's not to say we haven't had our issues, but they're so small, or like we're so willing to work on it that it's not even a fear of mine. Like I used to be like, oh, I fucked up, or I made a mistake, and I kind of like was dreading that confrontation because I didn't know what to expect. And again, thankfully, because I've gone through this, like because I've lived as many years as I have, and I've experienced what I've experienced, observed what I've observed, I'm less fearful of trying and making mistakes, knowing where my intentions are going. You know what I mean? Like if they fail, or if like the intention wasn't met, then I can explain, oh, this was my initial intention. I don't know where it went wrong. And again, the communication and it's funny that you've mentioned that because we've done that where we've literally had to over communicate problems just to make sure we were on the same page.
Yeah.
Because her and I have this like understanding that we want this to go well. Like there's that genuine like, I enjoy this. I enjoy you. I enjoy your company. I enjoy what we have.
So let's make it work.
Yeah, exactly. So like instead of like having to do this game when we're both in the dark and we're trying to play Blindsman's Bluff, or we're trying to play like Marco Polo, like let's just open our eyes and let's come to the same conclusion and move on from it.
I think like sometimes people are afraid that relationships won't be like a fairy tale where it's like you'll still have a bunch of like in fairy tales there's no issues, but like in real life you're gonna have issues. Yeah. And I don't think that it's the issues that really break up a relationship. Obviously, like the magnitude does, like if you're cheating on someone or whatever.
Right.
But like little daily things, like if you just communicate and like even if you come to a conclusion of like, oh, that's not how I see things, but I see where you're coming from. Right. It's just like you don't have to agree on every single thing because you don't want them to be exactly you. You want someone to have like some different views and stuff, right?
So, right. And I mean, this was like a little I guess a pickup line, but it wasn't like a pickup line. It was just something that like clicked with me, and it just became kind of a theme that I ran with. But it was like complementary. Like in mathematics, a complementary angle is like two angles that add up to 90 degrees, right? So it makes a perfect square. It makes a perfect 90. And I was like, that's what you're looking for in a relationship. One that's supplementary and complementary. Right, you don't want the same two. You don't want both angles to be the same, or else it's always going to be
just one way.
Yeah, it's going to be the same sides, and everything's going to be like it's going to get like, redundancy. Redundancy is going to be out the ass. You just want complementariness. And that just means if this person's at like an 88, you're going to be a 2 to complement them to that 90.
Yeah.
Or you're going to, and if you want to supplement, then it's going to be, you're going to put in a little more effort, It's finding where they're at and not matching it, but finding like the complementary of it to, bring out the best in them and also in yourself.
Yeah, you want to be in a relationship where you're like sharpening each other. It's kind of like when you play sports, you don't want to have someone like you don't want to have like for basketball, you don't want to have 5 people with the same exact skill set because then everyone's only going to be trying to do the same stuff. But like, let's say someone's really good at scoring, someone's really good at defense,
right?
It'll help you because then like the dude who defends can be on the other team's best scorer, and then you could score on your side. So you're like you're taking care of like both.
You capitalize on your strengths, and someone will cover your weaknesses.
Exactly. And then you can like over time, you can learn how to score better. You can learn how to like defend better. Like in a relationship, like you can learn how to do certain things better from the other person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely maybe like when we were in Reno and definitely when I was at like Dianza, I didn't really see too much value in relationships. But now I see like a lot more value if they're done like the right way. Obviously, like if they're toxic, it's not going to help anybody. But
I think that was like the biggest conclusion we drew too, because it was like I even think back then we were just like, I'm not opposed to being in a relationship, but at the same time, if it's not bringing any value, or if anything, it's a detriment to the time I've already been spending, then what's the point?
And I think up until that time, I only seen bad relationships around me. So I was kind of like not sure of what a good relationship looks like or what are the qualities of like a good relationship, like communicating or being honest or like you knew those, like I knew those things, but I didn't see it, right? Like, so I didn't like know what a good relationship looks like. But I think now just seeing like, since we're getting older and like all of our friends are in like longer relationships and like, even in the ones that get in new relationships now, they have like a different mindset than back then. I'm just more able to see like the positive side of it. So my outlook's definitely changed. It's just like now I just got to kind of find someone is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of person to hunt. Like I don't.
Yeah. And that was the thing too. Same thing, man. I was not looking for anything. I was just like, got the bar job and I was like, let's fucking see where I could take this. And it took me straight into a relationship. And
it's like I always use this analogy, but like, when you lose something as a kid in your room, you can never find it when you're looking for it. When you're not looking for it, it's just I feel like that's the best relationship when you're not looking for something and someone just comes into your life.
Yeah,
because that means like something in the world put them there for a reason.
Yeah,
it's just
I could take this to that metaphysical level and we'll like dance around it. But like it becomes a thing though too. It's like, man, in this world of 7 billion people, right? There's 7 billion plus people in this world. And you're the one that happened to make the impact on my life. Like, there's got to be something more there to it than just like
a coincidence.
Yeah. No matter how you shake it out, right? You could be like, oh, well, it's a simulation. Well, how many million times have we made this interaction?
Yeah.
How many million times has this encounter happened in these many simulations, if that's the case? Or if it's like not, or even if it's like you do the same thing where it's like, oh, well, this universe is so huge. Doesn't that makes it even more of a testament to the interaction and the encounter,
It's like you said like a bit ago, like sometimes you don't even know what you need. Like you know what you're looking for, but you don't know what you need.
Right.
And then that person just like happens to come into your life, and then like now you understand like, oh, that's what I needed.
Yeah. So. And back onto that topic of like my old relationships have definitely sharpened the tools I needed to
be successful now.
Yeah, because I always had that mindset where I was like, I'm gonna put in 1,000,000% into everything I have, everything that's worthwhile, and I've done that in relationships that were not beneficial or that have done me dirty.
Yeah,
and so it's never made me waver in terms of my mindset. My mindset. But I was just waiting on the person who was like gonna match it or who's gonna be that
who has the same attitude.
Yeah. Who'll be more appreciative too and be more understanding and like I said, be that complement to complete the 90,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in like the longer grand scheme of things, you also want to be with someone that you could envision raising kids with. I mean, if you want kids, right? Not everyone wants kids or whatever. Or like
again, we're in that weird area where it's like it's not taboo to talk about, but it's like
still a long for you it's still a long way. But I'm just saying in like general, like for people like Kendall or like other people who've been in relationships for like 3-4 years, you definitely want to like think about, is this someone I want to
Right, and that's the point, right? I mean, for me, when I'm looking for a relationship, it's something of longevity. It's not a fling or it's not a summertime thing. It's gonna be something real. That's what I've always premised, like my past partners on is like I'm looking for realness. I'm not looking for anything else but that. Whatever that entitles. That's what I'm looking for.
Like you're not looking for people with agendas. It's just like
right. Like I don't need fakeness. Like if this is who you truly are, then cool. Because this is what I'm attracted to. I'm not expecting you to change anything for me because that's not what I fell in love with. So that's how it goes.
Yeah.
At the same time, that doesn't mean like for me, I try to make micro changes in my lifestyle and routine because I want to do better not only for myself but now for this person who's supporting me in my lifestyle.
Because like so many things go into like why a person is a certain way. So like everyone has a different way they learn or a different way they handle situations.
Yeah.
And like let's say your way is totally opposite from this person's way. You'll like slowly make adjustments. So it's like you'll kind of like cater to their way, but not be completely away from who you are as a person.
Right.
Just enough of a change to make them comfortable.
And that's like I said, and that go again, bringing full circles completed. Like that goes back to being complementary to each other. It's a whole independence thing because I've had this talk with my current girlfriend right now, Solin, and what we said was like, or it wasn't really an argument, but we just had like a dialogue of like independence, right? Because man, I like being independent. I like the fact that I could do what I want to do, and like I don't have to like
have someone like bothering you all the time.
Yeah, have someone like attached to my hip all the time either. Like as much as I love the company, but I need to hang out with my boys, and sometimes having someone tag along is not the warrant that we're expecting.
Or you just sometimes want to be by yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like personal space is huge.
And so having that liberty to be able to do that and not feel like I'm getting sandbagged or gaslighted for it is always a nice feeling to have. And like I said, it's at the same time, I feel like a lot of relationships are two people who think they're independent, but like start to fall into this dependency upon each other.
That's like they forget who they were before they became into this relationship.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy, but
it is, but it's so prevalent, man. Instead, you'd rather have like two people that just like kind of are independent and keep their independence, but build on top of each other's independence.
Yeah, it's like
a house of cards.
Like people get in relationships and they forgot that they had like a whole ass life that they were living before this. They're just so consumed by the relationship. It's like, oh, I need to bring my girlfriend or like boyfriend everywhere I go, or like they have to know everything I'm doing, or like I gotta talk to them 24/7. It's like,
well, we've been there. We've had friends and we've had acquaintances of ours who had that. We've had to be around that.
Yeah,
and it's unhealthy.
Yeah, you gotta know who you are, like aside from this person.
Yeah, because it became a thing where we just started associating that person to their significant other.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, if we invite them, if we invite one, we're inviting both. Like that's just
like their personality trait became their relationship.
Yeah, they morphed into just one being at one point within two bodies.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of good things about relationships, and there's definitely a lot of bad. But
but finding that, I mean, I preach this all the time, but everybody's crazy. It's just a matter of crazy you want to like that suits yours.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying all women or all men. I think everybody has their own
in general
have their own craziness, and like it's just a matter of like which crazy is most complementary to yours. Like which one are you willing to be like, I'm down for this crazy. Let's get it. Like once you realize that, then you'll realize it's not that bad. Because everyone always, no matter how you shake it out, people will always come to that conclusion. Man, people are just like, damn, girls are just crazy, and girls will say the same thing about guys, or
it's like people are just crazy in general. You just
yeah, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to pick one gender over the other or one
bias one way. Yeah,
everyone's crazy, and it's just a matter of finding the one that suits you.
Yeah. I think it also helps sometimes, like understanding why certain things tick off people. You just kind of like on a deeper level understand where they're coming from, and definitely, you got to find the people that are worth tolerating for like whatever they do that bother you.
I mean, that's the same thing with friendships, right? Like, we wouldn't be hanging out with each other, or we would be hanging out with Kendall if we didn't get along or have like at least some commonalities, you know.
And I don't know,
we are so differing too.
I don't know any friendships that like no one ever has any issues. I mean, our group doesn't have issues, but like we also have things that we're like, I just wish this person wouldn't do X, Y, and Z.
They're not red flags.
Yeah.
We have issues with each other, but they're always like to better each other. They're never like, damn, dude, fucking Kendall's always so fucking lazy.
Yeah.
No, it's more like, okay, I understand that about Kendall.
Like his personality.
Yeah, that's just how he functions. How do I work around that? Because at the same time, even though he's lazy, he's a joy to be around. And he always happens to liven up the room.
Yeah.
You know, and I want that around me. I have to take both sides of him, though.
Good and
yeah, I can't just be like, I keep your bad.
Powerpuff Girls, you don't just mix it whatever the fuck you.
Right. Fucking just throw some chemicals together and make some children with that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just, it's crazy how people, they'll do so much for their friend or they'll tolerate so much, but they just don't put the same energy or outlook into relationships.
Or even into themselves, too. You know? I think at the end of the day, you just got to find that good balance, right? As you add more things, and I think that's what it means to be an adult. As you add more responsibilities and more things and duties onto your lifestyle, it's being able to balance them without like having it topple over or dropping, like, you know, spilling anything out. It's keeping it all together and keeping yourself sane and making sure you enjoy the process of it, right? If you don't enjoy any of it, then why do it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have that conversation like back in high school. Or I guess graduating out of high school is because we were still hanging out with Kendall and all them. But it was just like, you know, why do something that you're going to be miserable in if you're going to do it for the rest of your life?
Why do things just to do them?
Right.
Like if you're going to do it, have a purpose or have a, like some reasoning or benefit.
Yeah. Be enthralled in it. Like don't let it become just like another chore or another, you know, task that you have to complete. Like make it something worth doing.
Yeah.
You know,
make it something that's like part of your personality that makes you stand out, or like we can associate that with you instead of it just being like, oh, blah blah just does this, but they're not.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've run into so many like old high school alumni or like old classmates of ours at where I work, and it's so funny to see how things shake out. And I'm so happy that I became like. I mean, I wasn't that far different from high school than I am now, at least in mindset. You know, I did my own thing and I stuck to like my own style, and I never like conformed to things that I didn't agree with or believe in. And it showed, you know, like I mean, I have my own style. I wear puka shell necklaces, and I don't know anybody else who does regularly or daily like I do. You know, I don't see people who are wearing fish hooks or having tribal tattoos or acting the way I do, you know, being the person I am. And I've always loved that about me, you know. Yeah. And it's always been in my favor because it's true, genuine me. You know, I'm not going to be like someone else. I'm not going to be, and this is not saying like I'm not going to be an asshole to people or I'm not going to not be an asshole to people. Like you're going to get the person that you warranted, right? Like, oh, you know, you've been nothing but respectful to me. I'll give you respect back. You've been nothing but an asshole to me. All right, I'm not going to be as respectful to you now, you know. And same thing, like, or going outside of high school and coming into this, like that's the only thing I've ever clung to, and it's done me nothing but good for the most part. You know, the only time I've lost myself was when I stopped following that dogma that I had, I guess is what you'd call it,
like the core of who you were.
Yeah, because I've seen people do that where like
they stray too far.
Yeah. Or they've never had a center they've never had anything to recenter back to.
They just like kind of fake it by whoever they're around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean our school was notorious for that.
I think high school in general is notorious for that.
Oh yeah,
it's a time, even in college, it's a time period where people are figuring out who they are, and like they want to fit in, but they also want to be who they are.
They want to stand out.
It's like it's that like balance that you gotta, you know. And some people, I don't know, some of us, we just can't conform. Like, it just takes too much out of us to try and do like other people.
I was going to say, I think school really just kept preparing us for bigger and bigger community groups.
Yeah.
Right? At least for how it set up for me. I started off in public school. at a young age, and then once I got into higher education, 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, 7th grade, I had smaller classes, so my community was a little smaller, but it was like everybody knew each other.
It was more close knit.
Yeah, and then once you get into high school, it resets, but you're in a bigger community. Yeah. So it's how do I deal into this big, like kind of private society of this high school that we went to, and then once you leave that and you go to college, it's the same thing for the most part. Go, okay, now I'm in an even bigger community than when I left my high school, and I have to do the same thing I did in high school, and I'm a little older and I'm a little wiser, and I'm still at this point trying to figure out who I am.
Yeah, I think that jump from high school to college, or like the mindset thing, where people are like, yeah, it's not worth trying to just fit in.
Yeah,
it's huge.
But that's the beauty that college gives you too, because like then you find out that
you have more freedom too.
Yeah, you interact with so many more people than you did in high school and in prior years, that you have more opportunity to be like, oh, I actually am into anime, and I could admit that openly because I found this other group that is.
I think for high school, like, you're limited to the area you live in. So if your area isn't super diverse, or people don't have like a super big outlook, or they're just like more conservative or whatever, like, you're kind of just confined to those kind of people. But in college, there's people from everywhere, international too. So it's like you're bound to find people who are like you in more ways than you think. So,
and there's a million colleges too.
Yeah.
So like they say, for the most part, you like find attraction within the region you're in, right? San Jose people are probably gonna are going to be attracted to San Jose people because of so many common interests and commonalities, right? Same lingo, same vernacular, same sports
like
teams,
daily life,
hobbies, routine, lifestyles are very similar lived. So you usually fall into that pit.
Yeah,
it's not a bad pit to fall in, but like people literally go out to different colleges in different states to
try something new,
try something different, because for whatever reason, maybe California was not their cup of tea of people.
Yeah.
Or maybe the California that they were living in was that way, Yeah. And then on the other hand of that, you can go to like, oh, I'm going to go to Texas and see if those people are my kind of people. Oh, I'm going to go to New York. Are those my kind of people?
Yeah. And I feel like the world is so big, you'll find the people that are like you.
And if you don't, then you're just that unique. And that's just a fucking even bigger dub.
Yeah.
But, I think we've talked about this, and, based on this felt like more of a recap on like a very, like, this was like a season 1 topic that we used to.
Yeah, we haven't done relationship stuff in a while.
Yeah. It was almost like it's definitely an update. And as you could tell, it's been a big one because I think back in that time,
our mindsets
were very closed.
We were also in different places in life, I guess.
Oh, heck yeah. I had just moved back. I was still trying to figure it out and seeing what the path was for me. I still am.
Yeah. I think everyone always is trying to figure it out.
Oh, for sure.
You're not at your final destination. Life isn't a final destination.
It never will be. That's a movie.
Yeah.
They all die. Everybody dies in that movie.
There is no peak. It's like a rainbow. There is no end.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Yeah. Just when the timing is right, it happens for you.
Yeah.
But on that note, it was nice to actually recap this topic.
Yeah. In a while.
And we'll cover some more. Maybe we'll jump into like a little stream of these kind of things. We'll see. But on that note, it's your boy Maui.
And it's Bambi.
And this is Couch Surfin. Peace.